Welcome back, Bubba Bunch, to another YouTube video. We got a special one here for you today. Happy New Year! 2022 is underway and we're kicking it off with some really great content on the YouTube channel. Today we're traveling back to June 9th to where I did my first ranking video of every single NFL starting quarterback and how they fare against each other. And I kind of wanted just to see, where we were back in the day, and with the regular season ending pretty soon, playoffs starting pretty soon, let's look back and to see how right and how wrong I was about some of these quarterbacks. It's been an amazing year for the Bubba Let's Sports podcast and this YouTube channel. We've reached so many milestones and so many accomplishments, but really it's just getting started. And in 2022, I promise you, stuff like this content, it's only gonna get better and better. So before we start the video, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe and follow the Bubba Let's Sports podcast on anywhere you get your podcast from. Let's get into the video. All right, so I tried to do this once like a year ago and the recording screwed up and I just got really annoyed by it. So let's make sure that doesn't happen again. All right. Hello, Bubba Bunch, and welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel. Today is the first of a three-part series that we're going to be doing. See that edit?
Ranking
Beautiful.
Every single starting quarterback in this upcoming NFL season. Now, if you've been here a while, I did this last year.
Okay, to be fair, this was right after the NFL draft stream where we got 75 subscribers. So I shaved my beard and then I tried to give myself a haircut and I ended up shaving my head. Not the best time to be Bubba Let's, but here we are, 2022.
Going into the 2020 season, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So here we are again, and if you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy this series. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and become a part of the Bubba Bunch.
Always.
Now, just a disclaimer, I won't be talking about any of the rookie quarterbacks because we just don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Some of them may start, some of them may not. So it wouldn't be fair to add them to the list.
We would just put them at the bottom automatically, right? Like, based on what they've done this season, it's just not great for any of those guys. So it wouldn't be fair. Trey Lance has gotten like 1 or 2 starts and he's played a little bit, but it's a work in progress, right? So other than that, well, Mac Jones. I mean, we can't forget about Mac Jones. He might win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but this was in June. They didn't name him the starter until like a week before the season started. So, if I had to put Mac Jones in here, I would put him about middle of the pack. I would put him about 15 or so. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but he's definitely better than some of these guys that I remember putting at like 20-ish. So Mac Jones, was the only one that worked out. But I will take credit for that. When he did get drafted by the Patriots, I did say that that's the one place that he would work out in. And guess what? It is. So Mac Jones, 3 pass attempts against Buffalo. Congratulations.
Gives us 30 quarterbacks to rank. And at number 30, we start off with Andy Dalton.
Oh, yes.
Good old Red Rifle. Dalton is the worst starting quarterback in this upcoming season because he doesn't deserve to be a starting quarterback. Now, I just said that we can't mention any of the rookie quarterbacks. So Justin Fields has to take a back seat on this one. But I truly don't understand how Andy Dalton is the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. In some other situations with these rookie quarterbacks, they have a good placeholder for quarterbacks. With Trey Lance in San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo will be all right. With Mac Jones in New England, Cam Newton is all right. You can't say the same thing about Andy Dalton. He has never won a postseason game in his long career in the NFL, and that's 0-4 for anybody keeping track at home. He put up big numbers with the Dallas Cowboys last year after coming in as a starter in week 4. 4-5 in his 9 starts with the Cowboys and putting up a 62.2 completion percentage. That's automatic.
That's automatic, sir.
No sense for the Bears. And can we please fire whoever is in charge of the Twitter for Chicago?
Bro, this tweet did not age well. Oh my God, I forgot about this. It did not age well at all. He lasted what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Justin Fields took the start like second month of the regular season. Oh, Andy. I mean, he's gotten a few starts after that, but man, like Andy Dalton's just so bad. Bears.
QB1, really?
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 Just go and look
That's
at the
two
Week
WWE
17
references, ladies and
matchup
gentlemen.
against the New York Giants last season and tell me how this guy deserves a starting job in the NFL. So Justin Fields, when you have to come in week 3 after Andy Dalton puts up terrible numbers, congratulations. You have now taken down
That's pretty
the
close to
worst
what
starting
happened.
quarterback in the NFL. Number 29, the Denver Broncos quarterbacks. I can't even just talk about one. We have to talk about both because both may not be the best option for the Denver Broncos. Look, I hope I'm wrong about this. I like Drew Lock when he brings to the table. I love Teddy Bridgewater and what he did in New
Teddy
Orleans.
Two Gloves.
A little bit of what he did in Carolina. He still put up a good completion percentage. But neither of these guys are franchise quarterback material. They combined for an 8-20 record in 2020, and we can't just ignore how bad of a history it is for the Denver Broncos post-Peyton Manning. Something about this organization just doesn't understand how to get a quarterback. Their roster is great. They have fantastic teams.
It's still
as far as
true.
talent. But the one thing they're missing is
Still
the most
true.
important of them all, the quarterback. And I truly can't pick just one because I don't even think the Denver Broncos know which quarterback they're going to go with. On a good note,
I mean, I hope that Teddy's doing well after that injury. Drew Lock actually played pretty well. Like, he did his job, but I mean, he doesn't really have protection, and they didn't give him time to throw. So as of right now, Denver doesn't have a long-term solution. I'm saying Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson goes to Denver. If that doesn't happen, I don't know what this organization is about. I don't think they actually care if they don't actually end up getting one of those two guys in free agency. But, I mean, if we're talking about the first 3 weeks, I mean, they would be a top 10 quarterback. Teddy played well in those first couple weeks, but after that, they just fell apart. I mean, they did get the Cowboys, but...
they have a lot of their guys coming back from injury, including Cortland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy's going to come back better after having a drop issue in his
he was
rookie
out
season,
half the year,
and
basically.
KJ Hamler, if he can stay healthy, is a great deep threat. They are stacked offensively. As long as they have consistency
And they got Javonte
and
now.
a good playmaker at quarterback, they're not going to stay at 29 for so long. But for right now, if I'm Denver, I'm calling Green Bay and putting anything on the table to get Aaron Rodgers.
Last dance.
Number 28, Ben Roethlisberger.
Hey, the
this
man
was
who's going to
based on the
retire
first
after
11
Sunday.
weeks of the
Monday.
2020
After
season,
Monday.
Ben Roethlisberger would be top 10. But after a dreadful last month, including a 4-interception game against the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs, I am dumbfounded that the Pittsburgh Steelers signed Ben Roethlisberger for another year. It
Still
just
true.
isn't 2004 anymore. The Steelers have to read the room. Dual threat quarterbacks are the trend, and they don't have one. Big Ben has gone his entire career being durable, physical, hard to take down. But at 38 years old, that's just not the case anymore. And in that final stretch of the 2020 season, you saw a guy that couldn't carry the offense anymore. He's 38 years old. He doesn't have the same durability, the same strength as he once did. And he can't run the ball. You can't expect Big Ben to go in an extended season, now with 17 games, in a harder division, to make it through that entire season and play it at a high level. The Steelers need to know when to let go. The Giants didn't want to let go of Eli Manning. The Chargers didn't want to let go of Phillip Rivers. They held on too long. I think that's the
He
case
might be in the league
Pittsburgh with
next
the
week.
Steelers and Big Ben. It's time to let go. He's not good enough to be a franchise guy anymore. He's not good enough to carry this team to another Super Bowl.
I mean, I will give Big Ben and the Steelers some credit. I thought they were going to be horrible this year, and they're in the hunt to still in that division, maybe for a wild card. They're favorable against the Cleveland Browns going into this one of the final weeks of the season, and Big Ben's been all right. It's sad that he has TikTokers as his wide receivers, and Najee Harris can't run past the line of scrimmage, but Ben's not been that bad, but it's time to hang up the cleats.
It's time to move on. Number 27, Jared Goff. Now, props to Jared Goff. He had his best completion percentage last year. Has put up good numbers in his
So
time with
far,
the Los
so
Angeles
good.
Rams.
I
He got that
wouldn't-
big contract.
wouldn't complain
but it's
about
also
where
one
we're
of the
at.
worst contracts I've ever seen in the NFL. He played his best football in that 2018 Super Bowl run. But after that, Jared Goff is just average. Sean McVay brought out the best in Jared Goff, so I think we've seen the best out of him. And now after the trade with Matthew Stafford sending him to Detroit, what makes you think that he's going to get better? That organization is in shambles and it's rebuilding. And if you want
Hey,
a
my
hard-nosed,
guy.
physical team,
You know
makes
what,
think
Dan
that the
Campbell,
pretty
you're
boy
all right
Jared
with
Goff
me.
is going to be that guy for you. He's not going to elevate the position. It's going to be a downgrade, and he just isn't a big playmaker. So I think with a newfound home in Detroit where they're going to struggle, and that has to do with Jared Goff as well, Goff is going to be a forgettable name by the next 3 years in the NFL. Number 26, Daniel Jones. This is the year for Daniel Jones. Saquon is coming back, an improved offensive line, some good weapons around him.
I mean, that's true, but they can't stay healthy.
To a lot of wins in the NFC East. Daniel Jones has to step up. Do I think he's going to do it? No. In 14 games started last season, he threw 11 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. In his 2 years as a starter, he has fumbled the ball 29 times.
He has improved. And there was that stretch at the early part of the season to where he was playing some good football. I won't lie. I will give him credit. He did play all right. But I think it was past that first Cowboys game where he got the concussion, and then we have the neck issues now, and just the mediocrity that is that organization right now, firing Jason Garrett. They won't fire Joe Judge. And it's now confirmed that he will stay the quarterback in 2022 for the Giants. Joe Judge will stay the coach. And I mean, if you want an easy win in the NFC East, you're looking at the Giants, you're looking at Daniel Jones. So, I think we're perfect right now. Not perfect, probably switch around some guys. But as far as where they're at, there's no guy that really stands out to me so far. But Daniel Jones deserves to be at this spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say it. Actually, no, I love to say it. He is Eli Manning 2.0. I think the team around him will get the wins.
I think at this point, Eli was better.
And hopefully,
at least Eli was average.
Joe Judge and Jason Garrett realize that this guy just isn't a franchise quarterback for the New York Giants.
I don't think Joe Judge is going to be
Number
there.
25, Cam Newton.
Hey, my guy.
Now, you know me. I'm not a fan of Cam Newton.
Still not.
Never was. But I will say that last year was a growing experience for Cam Newton.
Wait, you know what?
Of the 2015.
We can just skip this one. This man gets benched for Sam Darnold.
Number 24, Jameis Winston.
My favorite player in the league right now.
I don't know.
It's a shame that he didn't get to play the full year.
A very unpredictable team this upcoming season. What do we expect a year after Drew Brees retires? All we've known about the Saints is a Drew Brees team. They have incredible talent on the defensive side.
Yep.
They still have major weapons on the offensive side. And they still have Sean Payton as their coach. But not having that old reliable Drew Brees at quarterback, it's going to feel weird, right? As of right now, Taysom Hill is listed as the QB1 for New Orleans. But I don't expect that to happen because in a quarter of a season, he had the most fumbles in the NFL. So I think Jameis Winston comes in as QB1. But how can I judge what Winston will do this season when the last thing we ever saw of him was 30 for 30, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions?
That's actually a very good question. So anybody that's watching this right now, go in the comments down below. Tell me where, based on Jameis Winston's season prior to that injury, where would you put him on this list? Because although he is an absolute comedic masterpiece of a man, I just don't think he was great or even good. I think he was all right for the Saints, and maybe not as low as I have him right now, but I don't know, man. I think he's more fun than he is good. So, but let me know.
He got LASIK eye surgery. It's going to be different.
Hey,
he did that.
He
30
did look.
For 30.
He did throw some dimes.
20/20 vision.
I think the vision
helped.
helped.
Jameis Winston being a starter in the NFL. Maybe not a good one, but maybe not the worst one. Number 23.
I'm really curious to see where he goes next year.
Now this one hurts. He threw for over 4,000 yards.
This is the
year,
one that I knew I got wrong.
27 touchdowns on just 9 interceptions and 101.4 passer rating. I'm a fan of Derek Carr. He's a natural leader with above average traits. Sadly, though, he is a part of one of the worst ran organizations in the NFL. This is the year where John Gruden gets fired, and Mike Mayock as well. I don't know what
this was in June, by the way.
The Raiders.
This was in June,
but I can guarantee.
I didn't know what was going to happen, but
any protection.
I knew he was going to be gone.
And with a defense that's so unpredictable, you don't know if Derek Carr has to throw for 500 yards a game, 200 yards a game. If he has to score 45 points a game, it's going to be a tough task for Derek Carr. I want Carr to leave Las Vegas. I want him to be in a different uniform in 2022.
I want that for him.
I predict the Raiders are going to go 2-15.
Oh, God. Those back-to-back highlights did not age well.
This will be Derek Carr's final year as a Raider.
That's false. That I will say that I would like for him to leave, but he loves the Raiders so much. Like, and I know it's a very personal thing for him because they gave him that chance and they've given everything to him, even though they had the Gruden like stint to where he wanted Mariota instead of Derek Carr. But with Gruden out, they've done some all right things. This was a really interesting year for the Raiders because they were playing so well under Gruden before all the controversy. And then even after, I think they've still built a nice culture with the guys that they still have. And of course, Derek Carr is a part of that. So no matter what happens, what coach ends up there, and what players they get next season, I think Derek Carr stays, even though that's not the best thing for him. He'll probably stay a Raider for life. He's just so close and so loving to that organization that it wouldn't make sense for him to leave. But I wish he did, because he would be a great franchise quarterback anywhere else.
I love you, Derek. Number 22, Sam Darnold. This one's going to shock some.
He should be
Sam
lower.
Darnold was the worst quarterback statistically last season with a 59.6 completion percentage, a 72.7 passer rating, and only 2,200 yards passing in 12 games. The Jets stunk last year, and a part of that was Sam
That
Darnold.
didn't change.
I always was a skeptic on Sam Darnold coming out of USC. I felt he left too early. He was too young, inexperienced, but the talent's still there. And that's why I think Carolina is going to be a good fit for Sam Darnold. Why? The Joe Brady effect. Drew Brees.
Let me just.
Had better stats when Joe Brady was an assistant coach in New Orleans. Joe Burrow became a monster at LSU with Joe Brady as the passing game coordinator. And in their second season with Matt Rule, I think this Carolina team will make strides to get better over the next few years. And to have a fresh start with a new quarterback in a system that's developed now, and the addition of Robbie Anderson to this offense, which was the only good note for Sam Darnold in New York. He will definitely not be the worst quarterback statistically in 2021.
Oh, no. That one stung a little bit. All right, moving on.
Number 21, Tua Tagovailoa. We're getting to the part of the list where I really feel like these quarterbacks are going to be all right. They may not have to be the greatest quarterback in the NFL, but as long as they do their job, they'll be fine with their teams.
That
Tua is no
completely
exception.
describes
The stats
Tua
were too
right
bad
now.
last year, but you could tell that he wasn't comfortable with the playbook, wasn't comfortable at his position. And that's a lack of an off season, lack of preseason games, and having to go back and forth in a QB battle with Ryan Fitzpatrick. And really, you got to start to think about the adjustment to the post-hip surgery and the bad injury history he had in college. So I think in year 2, Tua will finally get settled in Miami and really trust himself in his skills and get a full offseason to know his playbook. That helps. Yeah. Something special is brewing in Miami with this Dolphins team.
Hey,
Brian Flores has
seven
done
games
an
in a row,
amazing
baby.
job, and I'll say that time and time again. This offense is going to be really interesting to watch next season, and especially with the addition of Jalen Waddle. If you look back at some of the wins from last season with Tua under center, a lot of those games he barely threw for over 200 yards. But it was the special teams, it was the defense making plays for him. So really Tua just had to settle in, not make mistakes, and run the plays. He may be a system quarterback, but I think that's just going to be good enough for this Miami Dolphins team. He will make improvement. He will feel more confident. And I think Miami can be a really dangerous team in the AFC.
Well, I mean, everything that I said about Tua is correct. Like, that didn't change. He is playing good enough football and no mistake football in order for Miami to be winning these games. 7 games in a row after losing their first 7 games. And they're playing as a good balanced team right now, and that goes to Brian Flores more than anything. Like, Brian Flores, some analysts and some reporters are asking for his head to be fired, and I just didn't understand it whatsoever. But now they're on that winning streak. They could sneak into the playoffs. Maybe that AFC West is, or AFC East, excuse me, is pretty competitive right now, and I think Miami's in the mix for it. But yeah, Tua's playing all right. And I think it speaks volume of how he reacted after that short period of the Deshaun Watson trade talk. It was very close to happening according to reports. And even then, after that, Tua didn't crumble. He didn't fall under the pressure. He just took that and said, all right, I'm just gonna do my job. And Deshaun would be an upgrade if he's able to play, right? And still, even with how Tua is playing, I think if you have the opportunity to get Deshaun, you get Deshaun. But for right now, Tua, what he's done with that team and how they're winning games, props to him, man. So really, the only quarterback that we got really wrong is Sam Darnold, for sure. And I think Derek Carr, I mean, I would put him higher. I wouldn't put him top 10, though. You know, he was a top 10 quarterback for like the early part of the season. But I think now with everything settling in, I would put him about middle of the pack as well. So, you know, we may got a little bit wrong on Derek Carr, but I think the success of the Raiders was ultimately going to decide what he was going to be put and how people rank him. But Sam Darnold was definitely a miss in this episode. So I'm going to break this up into the 3 parts like we had it for the original videos. So I hope you enjoyed this first part, the 30 to 21 worst or best quarterbacks in the NFL. So we'll come back and yeah, we're going to do the top 10 in another video. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time on the Bubba Let's Sports podcast channel.